Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. Welcome to April. I'm sure if you're like me, you're very happy to see that blasted month of March behind us because we didn't get too much good out of that month this time, did we? You know, it is, a lot of people, I appreciate your well wishes here. Me being at ground zero here in New York, and like I said, New York was always ground zero. It's an accident waiting to happen. They don't tell you this in other parts of the country or the world that you have people here that are living in apartments. Like you have a regular apartment where normally two people would live. Well, here they rent an apartment and then they sublet the rooms out. Like they'll rent it out to like 5 people a room, and they live like animals. I mean, you don't even have any idea what's going on here. It's insane. But especially when times like this, people, they hear you have supplies of food, and they start, they'll start banging on your doors and trying. What is that? Somebody at the window? What the heck is that guy doing? Is he licking the window? You remember window lickers? Remember window lickers? Is that something that maybe stopped when we were kids? I don't see too many of them anymore. But then again, I haven't been out in a while. But window lickers, that was a big thing, I'm glad that's gone. That was something that, you still see the occasional pet do it, but not too much people. Real quick today, when I wanted to talk about, because I am in the center of it, and I know this thing is supposedly going to be spreading around the country, I thought maybe I would just give you a couple tips, because one of the first schools that I was forced to go to, actually I didn't sign up for it, was NBC school. My whole unit had to go to that. NBC was Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical Decontamination School. And, unlike infantry school, when you go to infantry school, you get out, you can't wait to get in the thick of things. NBC school, you got out of there and you were scared out of your mind. Oh my God, I hope I never have to go through that. And so a lot of the things I learned in there, it helps out now. So I thought I would pass on just a couple things to you, not to get too deep into it, but let's talk about masks real quick. By no means am I an expert in this field or in any other field for that matter, but one thing I did learn is that over the years we have instincts that have been honed for millions of years in us, and you can either listen to them or you can ignore them. And instincts are like common sense, and so when you hear people on TV telling you you don't need masks and things like that, you could say, hey, the guy says and hey, he's an expert. He knows best, right? I ain't buying it. I'm telling you, a mask will help. These virus particles are airborne. They do get airborne, even though they tell you droplets and things like that. Every time you breathe, there's little bits of microscopic particles that come out every time that you sneeze, cough, inhale, exhale, anything. And so you want to protect yourself from breathing in those particles. Now, a mask, any mask, is better than nothing at all. However, there are some masks that are better than others. What we use here is called the N95 mask, is the one that is most readily available for us. And let me tell you what that means. This here is your assortment of types of masks we have. Now, we have the inexpensive masks like this that you can buy, and these are great for some woodworking and things, because wood dust a lot of times is actually quite a thick particulate, and this I find is very comfortable, very lightweight to wear, and I enjoy it, very easy to breathe through. However, for things that are require more of a filtration, you have to go to a better mask. Now, if you'll see, when you buy a good mask, and I did a review on these a few videos ago, but this is called, you see it says N95 approved. 95 is the percentage of particles that this will block. So this will block 95% of the particles that are 0.3 microns or bigger. So mostly viruses, things like that, are usually in that category. So that's why these are highly looked for in the medical field, because these will filtrate what you need. Now, you can see here, obviously, a good mask, the important thing is how it fits. You have to get a mask that fits around your face, and you have to wear it right. If there's gaps anywhere around the mask, it's going to allow particles or whatever to come in, to enter your breathing. Now, you'll always see any mask, most of them have a little wire around the top here, and that's meant to bend around the tip of your nose. Very important. But here's another type of N95, and you can see here, you have to look on here, you have to look closely. Here it says type N95, and here's another type here. These a little bit different. This one here, it's like a cross between, this type of mask. And you can see here again, it's got that wire. Very important that you have to contour this to your face. Now, besides having a good mask, if you don't have an N95 mask, anything will be better than nothing. Now, even if you have one of these. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say that this was deemed as an N25. And by the way, the N designation just means that it's not oil resistant. So in other words, if you were working around an air compressor, it blows out that oily dust, the oil can get through the mask. So N just designates that. They have P95, R95, but they all will stop 95% of the bacteria or particles. 2 masks will double up your protection, believe it or not. So if let's say you only have one of these, a cheap one, if you put 2 of these on, one over the other, it will double up your protection. It's all common sense. People say, well, you can't wear a dust mask. If that's all you have, you wear whatever you have. Now, besides having a good mask, which is important if you're going to go out, especially if you go into a supermarket or anywhere else that people are going to have to go to that might be ill or carrying, you don't know. Another thing that you want to do, one other place that will enter your body besides your mouth and your nose is your eyes. And a lot of people don't realize this, but you have to wear some kind of eye protection at a minimal. Look, if you have nothing to wear, even safety glasses or something are better than nothing at all. But, however, you should wear something that encloses your eyes. So, we see these people on the subway wearing bottles, 5-gallon water bottles, and plastic spheres around their heads, and we laugh and stuff, but believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy, it works. You got to go back to the common sense rule. It will work. It keeps you away from outside interference and bacteria. And one last thing I wanted to talk about, not to get into a long thing, was treat everything as if it's infected and treat everyone as if they're infected. So in other words, not just the stay away from people rule, which is common sense, but everything you take into your home, everything that comes into your home, you have to assume that it has been exposed. So that means that take your bleach and water solution, just take a half a cup of bleach, add it to 2 quarts of water, make a bleach spray solution and spray down everything that comes into your house, meaning mail, meaning when you go shopping and you pick up all those things from the, cans and milk containers and everything, assume that everything has the bacteria on it. Wipe it down before you put it into storage into your house, and discard of all the plastic bags and everything else that it came in. Also your shoes, assume that somebody was coughing and they spit, you stepped in it, you don't want to drag it into your house. Take your shoes off before you come in. Take your clothes off. Spray your shoes down with that bleach water solution. And, I know it sounds crazy, but that's the only way you could be sure of beating this, especially when your area gets like my area where, you have so many infections. You have to treat it like you're in a war zone, which it is. Okay, enough with the doom and gloom for today. I got a couple things to talk about left, and we got a few minutes of tape left, so let's see what we got. The other day we did this putty knife from Russell Green River Works. Well, years ago, for the fun of it, and I was trying to teach the scouts about knives and knife making, things like that. If you don't have a forge or things, you can't really forge blades or whatever. So what happened was, if you look at Russell and you look at Green River Works, they make actually knife blanks you could buy, and that's just the steel itself comes with the steel. You buy the blank and then you put your own custom handle on it. It's a lot of fun. It's an inexpensive way to get into the hobby of of kind of customizing a knife or whatever. And these are really good blades. And you can see here this one here is, you can see it says that it's a stain-free blade, but this is super sharp. I mean, it's been sharp. I've had this now I've never sharpened it, and I've had it for maybe 10 years, 12 years, and this thing stays as sharp as can be. It's a really good high carbon knife, and the handle blanks that I made, this is Corian. This is the same stuff. See this here? This is Corian. And it's funny because I used to go to, on the way to work, I passed a factory that used to make Corian countertops. And what they did was, you can see this is a shape of an oval. When they used to make the countertop, they would cut these ovals out and throw them in the garbage. So I would take these out of the garbage. I could see I put a nice little radius on the edge here with my router and made a little turntable. Now this turntable here I did temporarily one time. I was making a video, and all it is, I took a lazy Susan bearing, and you can buy these anywhere, and I just, believe it or not, blue taped it on because I needed it for a quick video. That's been that way for years. You know, I've been using this and it works great. So Corian, a really good material. It's supposed to be like a inexpensive alternative to granite countertops, but you can see here I would get all colors and different sizes and shapes, and then I would make all kinds of tool handles and things like that. And you can see the brass pins. A lot of fun. Check it out. You might be interested in doing something like that. Okay, next up, I just got these in the mail, and these are, you know how we use the fiber wheel that Joe's shop introduced us to? Well, this is a kind of a fiber wheel that's attached to a disc that you can mount to your grinder, your angle grinder. They run about $1 each. They come in packs of 10. I bought them. I want to see how they work. It's a little bit, it's not as soft as the fiber wheel. The fiber wheel has almost like a soft, woolly type feeling. This one here feels a little bit stiff, but I want to try it out. We're always looking for ways to get rid of deep scratches in metal and stuff. Let's give this a try, see how it works. Okay, to see how it works, we're going to use it on this. I just found this. I just was looking for something to try it out on. This is a body dolly. You know, this is something you would put behind some sheet metal when you're banging to try and it's a nice shaped body dolly. It's very old, and I didn't even know I had it. So what I'm going to do is we'll clean this up, get it wire brushed, and then we'll try out that fiber wheel. Now, here's our pulse wire brush evaluation. You can see there's some real bangs up on top here. The rest of it looks pretty good. So here's the plan of the operation. The first thing we're going to do is to get these deep gouges out. We're going to hit with the grinding disc. After that, it's going to leave a bunch of surface imperfections from the disc. We're going to hit it with the 40 and then smooth that out. Then we'll hit it with the 120. You see that? 120 grit disc. And then after that, then we'll hit it with this, and hopefully that'll give us a nice finish on this. So you can see what it looks like now, and especially top. Remember all those gouges. We got to get them out.
Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this dolly looked like before we started.
Okay, we're calling this project done. Look how nice this came out, huh? Now this is just using the discs I showed you. There's no polishing on here. There was no buffing. And you can see here, that disc does a nice job. Again, it's not going to take it down to a mirror shine because this does have like a, I guess it's about equivalent to a 220 sandpaper. You see, that's about the wear we got, okay? This is a new one. And that's the old one. You can see very little wear, so they're going to be long wearing. I highly recommend them for $1 each. You know, they seem like they do a really nice job. And again, nothing else other than the disc. You can see slight swirls, but you know, look at that. That's pretty nice, right? And it's I spent some time on the belt sander to deburr the whole end, so you can. This is just beautiful. Nice hunk of steel in your hand. Come on, you gotta love a nice piece of polished steel. Okay, that worked out real good.
So in closing, just want to say thanks very much for tuning in. Hope you have a nice day now. Take care. Bye-bye.